UBot Launcher 2 is a brand new version of UBot Launcher that I rewrote from scratch. I did this to make adding new features easier, and the new version supports any and all UBot versions. Now, before we talk about features, I want to mention that this program has a name your price option, which means you can put any price you want in there, even if it's $0 or $100. I did this because the first version was free, and so I wanted to keep this version free as well for those who either can't pay or haven't used the program yet. However, if you're like me and have used version 1 every day for the last several years, then please consider paying whatever you feel is right. Donations will help development and new features. In case you're not aware, UBot Launcher is a program that will launch UBot with whatever plugins you have selected. It will also find any plugins in a UBot file and then auto-select these plugins. This means that you don't need to look through the code trying to find which plugins are in the file. It also speeds up UBot because it won't need to use as many plugins. So the biggest obvious change to UBot Launcher 2 is the look and feel. And you can change this theme, by the way, so I'll show you that in a little bit, but first let's just see it in action. Oh, and by the way, stick around if you're new, especially if you're new to the end, so that I can tell you about the settings and how to set them up properly. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is simply launch a file, so we can press this open button, find some file, open it, and it's going to automatically select the plugins which are in the file. So it's going to go through all the scripts in the file, which there's 7 tabs here, and it's going to look at every single one and find all the plugins. Now, you can modify this right now. You can select a plugin if you want, or deselect a plugin if you want. For now, I'm just going to launch it in the UBot instance. I'm going to launch is, let's do X, because it's new. Okay, and as you can see, when we open this file up, all the tabs are going to be in node view. They're not going to be in code view. And that's because all the plugins are selected. If you maybe didn't have a selected plugin, then it wouldn't open up like this. It'd open up in code view and you'd have to go through and figure that out. So while we're here, I'm just going to click on this brand new feature which says view code. And this is going to open up this code view window. And these are all of your scripts and all the stuff in your script. So if I wanted to look at the proxy scraper or something, maybe quickly copy something out of here, I could do that. So this is a new feature in version 2, this code view button. And now I'm going to clear this out. Now the plugins haven't changed. So you can open a file, clear it, and that way you just get the plugins in the file. If maybe you're looking to do something like, for example, if you want to open up a second UBot instance with the same plugins to sort of, copy some stuff back and forth while you're working on it. So that's something you can do. So let's go ahead and launch this without a file. This time what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to UBot 5 and tick this use old browser. So this is going to make it so that UBot Studio 5 is now using the Chrome 21 browser. If you don't have that checked, it'll just use the new browser. And it does change it every time. So let's go to the options and you can see the Chrome 21 there. That's fine. Now let's just deselect all the plugins and unticking use old browser. And we'll go back, we'll use X this time. And as you can see, this is just the vanilla UBot Studio X. There are no plugins on the side selected here. And if I go into the options, you'll see now that the new browser is indeed selected because we unticked that. So it does change every time. Okay, so now let's talk about the settings. So when you click on the settings button, down here is the theme we'll talk about in a minute. First, let's just mention this. When you first use the software, you pretty much have to set an options.xml or you're not really going to be able to do, it's not going to be useful. So this is how UBot knows what plugins to load basically. So if you click the open button, it is going to try and take you to your app data UBot Studio, and you should just be able to click on this. I didn't want to include it by default because I think some people have it in some other weird location. So, but for most people, just click open. Otherwise, you're going to have to figure out where this options.xml file is. It's usually just going to be right here though. Now, the next thing I want to mention is adding UBot instances. So as you can see, we just have this drop down here. And so you can actually just add as many UBot instances as you want. So if you have, UBot 4, 5, and 6, or if they come out with a version 7 next week or something, you'll just be able to add it, and this should hopefully always work. So we'll just say test version. And this is going to take you to your programs86 file or folder. And in here is where you're typically going to find your UBot instances. So I'll just do UBot 5. I'm going to hit add, and it's going to save the settings basically. And that way it is right there that you can start using it right now. And finally, we have the theme. Of course, you can change the theme. This is using the Metro style. And so there's many options, and it's kind of fun to play with and figure out what ones are good. I think by default I have Crimson and Dark on because I like the way that looks. But another good one is, if you like lighter themes, is go with light, and then it's either blue or maybe it's cobalt. Maybe it was blue. I don't know. Again, you could just play with this, and then you can save the settings. And when you do save the settings, when you relaunch UBot Launcher, of course, it will have this blue. So give me a second to do that. Okay, I just opened it up on the side here. So once again, this has been UBot Launcher 2, and you can go ahead and download it right now. Like I said before, it's free if you want, or you can name your price, and I hope you enjoy it.